Moving on to topic 2. We're talking about the Batman. The Batman. The Batman. You can't just say Batman. You can't say Batman 1989. You can't say The Batman. You can't. Yeah. The Batman with Robert Pattinson. New movie. HBO Max. Why am I doing this motion over and over again? I don't know. Audio listeners don't even get to see it, so you're missing out. Peanut Gallery, are you on the podcast?
I'm sorry.
You're fine. So we're talking about The Batman, recently dropped on HBO Max. I'm real late to this movie. I didn't see it in theaters for reasons I'll talk about. If you also haven't seen The Batman, I'm going to go into full spoilers about this film. See you bye. Come back to this if you don't want to be spoiled. If you don't care, hi, welcome. Talking about The Batman today, my thoughts on this movie. Overall, general blank statement of this film. What did I think? Fantastic. Do I understand people's complaints with it? Yes. So, there's my general blank statement of it. I think it's fantastic. Do I get people's criticisms of it, or maybe why people won't connect with it, etc.? Absolutely. Totally get that. Now, you're asking, Bret, you like Batman. Why didn't you go see this movie in theaters? Well, there's that whole thing called the pandemic still. So if I'm not really invested in a movie, probably not going to risk it for the biscuit. But I'll admit, I saw the Twilight Man cast as the Batman, and I was like, you know what? I'm not feeling it. I definitely was like that. Book by its cover, judge, no. I'm good. My only experience with Robert Pattinson in a film has been Cedric Diggory, R.I.P. Didn't watch the Twilight movies. Apparently going to watch the Twilight movies under my own handshake and willpower. Apparently they're not great.
Oh, they're terrible.
They're terrible. Says Peanut Gallery. So anyways, I've only seen him in this. Obviously, I know he's with Moody Girl in Twilight, and all she does is go, eh. So, she does. You watch her in anything, it's the same. It's just,
that's true.
So, I didn't have high hopes, and I'm like, So I judged a book by its cover. Fair. I'll admit that. I was wrong. He did great. Really good, in fact. We get a different look at Bruce Wayne in this film. We get the younger, less experienced Batman. Still moody himself. Brooding, if you will. But the way that Pattinson acted in this movie as both the Bruce Wayne persona and the Batman persona was really, really good. Camera, get your act together. We're focusing here. Come on. There we go. Nope. Maybe. Hey. His brooding, childlike Bruce Wayne was great. Wasn't super duper smart. Wasn't up his own ass. He's learning. He's brooding. He's not too emo. But he's there. Him as Batman, serious, scary, quote unquote. Was really determined. Really good there. So now, you get the slew of characters in this film. You get, hold on to your hats, Commissioner Gordon, the Penguin, Carmine Falcone, Catwoman. Oh yeah, did I say Riddler's in this movie? Some other jabroni probably in this movie. You get all these political people, too, whose names really don't matter. So, there's a shit ton of characters to keep track of. And somehow Riddler's the main bad guy. Okay, cool. So you gotta play that fun game of chess, of remembering everybody. If you've been watching the MCU or Game of Thrones, you'll be fine. So, you get this cast. Now you get the runtime. Almost a 3-hour movie. I know that's a big ask for your general audience. 3 hours is a lot of time. Look at Lord of the Rings. That's an adventure to sit through. Look at Endgame. That's an adventure to sit through. So, I understand. General audience looking at this, 3 hours. Holy shit. Watching this movie, did it feel like 3 hours? Yes and no. Yes and no. Not in a bad way, but watching it through HBO Max, not an ad. There was times I'm like, just curious. I'm like, where are we at in this movie? Oh, we're only a third of the way in. Okay. Oh, we still got an hour left? Fuck. All right. Not in a bad way, but this movie does take some time to tell its full story. But the story that it tells in this full 3 hours, I think is really good. The twists, the turns, and the build of Riddler's plot and scheme, really, really good. Things feel earned, things feel suspenseful, and things feel real, quote unquote there. Everything, it doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel like they shoehorn stuff in. Maybe one thing I'll talk about later. It felt like a natural flow. It didn't feel, from my viewing, it didn't feel like we lingered on anything too much that was unimportant. Excuse me. Everything felt relevant to the story. Now, Riddler and his appearance in this film. Another reason I was a little hesitant to watch this film. Now, this is me, my thing. I love Riddler. I really enjoy the character, from his cartoon, personifications over the years, to his Batman Arkham series character, in his evolution from Asylum to City to Night. I like Riddler. Really enjoy Just a Jabroni, all the puzzles, like the mind game aspect. Seeing his appearance in this film, where he's all garbed up in this dark green, like, rain jacket clothes, and then seemingly just a weird dilapidated hood on his face, I was like, I get it. You're trying to go a reality-based or a grounded approach. I hated it upon going into the film. I'm not going to lie. I wanted the more question mark, gimmicked, goofy Riddler. Now I get it. It's not for everybody. You want a realistic type of feel sometimes to these movies. So I get that. That's why they decided to go this way. So going in, seeing a villain that I really enjoy portrayed this way, I was like, I don't know. Watching the film and how this character is portrayed and his story, they got me. I'm not saying this is my most favorite Riddler ever, or like, oh, fuck the other versions now. This Riddler is obviously certainly very different from past Riddlers we've seen. The way he starts off shows how much of a threat and like makes you feel uneasy of how he acts and how he carries out his plan. As the film goes on, seeing his riddles, his puzzles, and that aspect, I was like, wow, this is really intriguing. So the whole plot, I know I'm jumping around here. I apologize. The whole plot is Riddler is a threat to Batman. Duh. Riddler is exposing the lies in Gotham's government, whether it's the elected governor, whether it's the district attorney, whether it's the members of the police. He's exposing their wrongdoings. These are supposed to be characters, or supposed to be people of high character, doing the right thing. They say they're going to do it for their elections, or, say it to the public, but what are they actually doing behind closed doors? And he's exposing them through, riddles and leaked information and just bringing essentially them to the light of like, this is actually who they really are. So that's essentially what he's doing throughout this whole movie. And it seems like he has 5 big targets. And seeing how he goes about that and how that builds into the overarching story and conclusion is really satisfying. And it kind of almost makes you question, like, is he really the villain? Because throughout these exposures, you and Batman are really discovering, like, oh, this guy's a piece of shit. Like, he's part of the drug rings going around Gotham. Like, he's part of the mob. He's doing this, that, the other thing. Like, these people are protecting themselves or doing things in their own self-interest. And you'll learn some history about Bruce and his family that isn't super great. But yeah, it kind of makes you think like, obviously Riddler's going about this the wrong way, probably. But it kind of is that villain that you can sympathize with of like, wow, you're doing something here. And by the conclusion of this film, so this is where we start really getting to spoilers, so just a heads up. He, throughout the film, has been kind of reaching out to social media and putting out these videos to the news, etc. And he gets captured by Batman after taking out Falcone. He gets captured. Him and Batman have a talk in Arkham Asylum. Woo! Shout out there. They have a discussion there, and Riddler is just like openly admitting that he did everything. He's proud of his work. But it doesn't end with his capture. Because of his actions and his like reaching out through social media, he kind of grows a little bit of a following and inspires others to enact the next part of his plan for him, which is essentially taking out a majority of the standing government that is already there. And it's like, whoa. Like, it's that moment of, oh shit. Like, he's really smart, obviously made this plan, but like that threat, because you think everything's, oh, he's caught, day is saved, whatever. And then it's like the influence that this guy had to then have these random Joe Schmoes take up the mantle and trap these innocent civilians, along with the government officials and everybody, in this situation and then seemingly put them in danger. It's just like, oof, that's that escalation that I'm talking about. And I feel in this film, it's very satisfying seeing the steps, not like steps like easy to follow, but seeing that progression throughout the film. For me as a viewer, it was very rewarding and enticing to keep going. So there was that. Problems. Not really. Things I thought were weird with the film. So Catwoman's in this film. From Zoe Kravitz, I believe is the actress's name. And she does fine. She does good. She's there kind of as a support for one of the stories to kind of push it along and kind of have a little bit more of a connective tissue to some of the characters. So Catwoman's got claws, right? Yeah. Scratchy. Does that. Now, okay, you have claws. What are claws probably going to be? A blade, right? Cut things, be effective. It's her actual fucking nails. I know those could be effective. I get it. But the way sometimes she was scratching people, now she doesn't like get in a fight all the time where she's like, yeah. But there are some scenes where you see the cuts or the scratch and it's like, what? I feel at some point a nail's going to break. Like, these aren't super durable. And seeing them poke out of the costume, I don't know. That was a little dumb to me. So there's that. I talked about a shoehorn detail in. This is another big spoiler. A shoehorn detail, potentially, that shoehorn is like in parentheses. Take it or leave it. Maybe, form your own opinion about it. So I mentioned Riddler gets captured. He's in Arkham Asylum. And we see his plan fail. It succeeded in ways, but we see obviously Batman save the day. Woohoo! And he's upset about it. Well, another cellmate is going to reach out to him and be like, no, it's okay. You did really good. You sent a message. You've inspired others. And Gotham really enjoys a comeback story. This isn't the end for you. And he mentions, he gives him his own riddle. What's greater in value the less you have? And it's friends. Something like that. I don't know verbatim if that was what it was. And this character turns out to be a very famous Batman character. It turns out to be another iteration of the Joker. You don't get a super clear look at his face. You'll see him kind of through that wavy glass in the cell. But we're planting seeds, obviously, the future. Duh. It's a superhero movie. You can't really do a one and done anymore with those. So we get that. I think it was a cool cameo. Unfortunately, I got spoiled of it through a deleted scene on social media. But it was cool. It was cool to see. I didn't know anything about the actor or anything like that, so I don't know what kind of history they're pulling. I'm excited to see it, but I could understand how that could be in a 3-hour long movie where that could have been the little bit too much that was added. Could that have been a post-credit scene, for people who are really diehard and wanted to stay through it? Yeah, that could have been that. I get that they wanted to have everybody see it in the audience, but that could be what's the terminology? The apples and oranges? I don't know. The thing you could debate whether it was too much. Alfred was okay. What's the actor's name? He played Gollum in Lord of the Rings. I don't know. That guy. He was okay. It was definitely a different take on Alfred. He was definitely still, his butler and server, but he took more of a guy in the chair, sidekick. Not sidekick, but really assisted Bruce in his stuff, which makes sense. Alfred has done that in the past, but at least this one was very hands-on with helping decode the riddles and assisting him with that kind of stuff. Overall, I thought the movie was great. I personally really enjoyed it. I'm honestly looking forward to watching again. If Peanut Gallery wants to give it a try. Like I said, that escalation for me was the icing on the cake that made it I am invested in this movie. But I totally understand. Some people are not digging this movie, once again, because length, and they feel some things kind of carry on too much or whatever it might be. I would say give it a try. If you're not feeling it, you don't have to watch it the whole 3 hours. Time is very valuable. Do what you will. But I thought it was great. I think Pattinson does really great in the role. I thought Riddler was a threat. I thought it was cool to see what his plan was, where his thoughts were, things like that. I thought it was great. And I thought the supporting cast, whether it was Penguin, whether it was Falcone, and the mobsters, even Catwoman, were interesting as well. We get a little bit more seeds planted for what Penguin's character can be, and we dive into that mob boss stuff that has always been present in Gotham, but not necessarily in its films. They've kind of been passing names here and there. A lot of rewards too for Batman fans. Potential Hush call out. I already mentioned Arkham Asylum being in there. Good stuff. Commissioner Gordon, I'm blanking on the actor's name, but he was in Westworld. He's fantastic in this role. I think he did a really great job. Good stuff. Good stuff. I recommend it, but I totally understand. 3 hours is a big commitment. So, You do you. This has been another episode of the Wait What podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma911, and you can catch this podcast live, usually, over on twitch.tv/Enigma911 every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can join the chat if you're a subscriber over there. We'd love to have you in on the conversation. But if you can't catch it live, that is A-OK. Drops over on YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, hashtag ad merch. Get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand. Support us, and we would love you for it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out today, giving this a watch, giving it a listen, and we will see you guys on the next one. Take care.